Hello, this is Dan Rock, and the purpose of this video is to guide an SREB team lead person through the PowerPoint for a CIR pre-visit meeting. The pre-visit meeting is generally done about 2 to 4 weeks before the visit, if not more. The earlier the better, because it provides them additional time to prepare. I would not do it less than 2 weeks ahead of time. And the goal is to ensure that the leadership of the school knows why we're doing this, what it is, and how they need to prepare. I'm going to walk through the slides and talk about the key things to emphasize throughout the presentation. Like I just said, we always want to start so that they know what we're going to do. So this is an overview of the presentation, and we're going to ensure that we answer all of these questions over the course of it. We want to give a quick background about SREB, not spending more than just a couple minutes. Some of the folks you're working with may have never worked with SREB before. Some of them have perhaps worked with us for years and years and years. In some cases, they are just introduced to it, and the district has decided to do a CIR, and this is the first the school has ever worked with us at all. So it's important that the school understands who we are and that we have more than just school improvement. We have other initiatives as well, and we're one piece of that. So then we transition into what is making schools work. And the emphasis here is that making schools work is a process. It is not a curriculum. It's not a framework. It's a process for change that engages teachers, school leaders, and that it is about identifying problems of practice and then finding ways to help teachers and principals work together to build capacity and address those challenges. One of our core beliefs is that increasing effort will lead to success. If you think about any student who has either been a top-tier student or a student with disabilities, if that student improves their effort, increases their effort, they will most likely achieve at higher levels. And that's what the purpose of, that's why we emphasize creating greater purpose in school. So that's some essentials about our school improvement process and our core beliefs. And what we've learned in doing this for over 30 years is that an effort can't be just a simple target, not simple, but a targeted micro improvements are less effective than having key improvement efforts linked to a broader vision. So we're not simply improving our reading scores. We're improving how teachers across the school engage in texts and how we engage students with reading and writing. We're not simply trying to help our Algebra 1 scores. We're thinking about how do we teach mathematics at our school overall. That will then improve the scores. Teachers and leaders need to be partners in the work. Not simply something that's done to them, but something that they do with us. And that our ultimate goal is to build capacity of the school and district leadership so that we sort of do certain steps and then they do the same later on and take over the leadership. Our core audience are teachers, leaders, and students. And our bold goals are about making sure that all students can read on grade level by the time they leave middle school, and a focus on entering 9th grade with algebra, able to take Algebra 1, or taking it in 8th grade. starting 9th grade, able to take Algebra 1, and that they finish 9th grade passing all their classes, ready to go to 10th grade. That's the make or break year for a lot of students. We lose them in 9th grade. So that's an essential year. And that students graduate college and career ready and prepared to earn a credential by age 25. That last one is going to be big, because one thing that we want is for students to go to school with the purpose of preparing themselves for an eventual career, whether that career may require 4 more years of college. It may require 6 more years of college. It may require 2 more years. It may require a additional year of technical school. But regardless of what they want, that they have a credential, that they are preparing for a very specific credential that will then give them access to the job market. And that's what our focus is in school. When we do a curriculum and instruction review or a workshop, we're working around these 5 primary focus areas. And I'm going to talk about each of these in a little more detail. So we're sort of transitioning now to the specifics of the CIR. And I talked about a process earlier. So the process of a CIR is, a school improvement process is starting with a curriculum instruction review to establish a need for change, to see that there are areas for improvement and what they are. I think in anything we do, we know that we can do better. The question is, what are the things stopping us from doing better, and what are the primary steps we can take that would accelerate our improvement? It's a given that improvement's always necessary, regardless of what we're doing. And so we do the CIR, and then from that we work with the school to review and unpack that report. The CIR is going to end with a report, and so we then have the school looking at the report and making decisions. So 2 and 3 are about the school leadership, the school teachers, and the SRAB leadership working together and deciding how to move into number 4, which is how and what should the PD look like, and how can we provide coaching, so that then in number 5, the school continues to do it on their own. Here's a visual of what that looks like. So the CIR is that green part. What are some of the challenges that we're having? And then the site development workshop is those next 3, which is coming together and saying, here's what we see as challenges, here's what we see as opportunities. SRAB will provide recommendations. And then the site development workshop, they look at those and make determinations about what they should prioritize and what they should leave to later, and say that's not a significant thing to work on right now. And then we'll put them in class, we'll put them into practice, and that's where we will provide professional development and coaching and leadership support and data monitoring to see if these interventions that we help put into place are effective. When we write the report, we will include some of our tools. We'll also include tools that maybe come from another district or another nonprofit organization or website. We're not necessarily going to only say, now that we've done the CIR, you have to do this. We'll have recommendations. Some of those recommendations will include some of these pieces, but they may also include other pieces and other support areas, other support providers, or things that you're already doing, or things that other people in the district are doing that are working. So we're going to start with the CIR and trying to answer these big questions. The 5 focus areas: quality instruction, aligned curriculum, career pathways, systems of support, and leadership for continuous improvement. In the PowerPoint, there are some questions down here. That's why I'm showing the notes in this video, because I want you to see that there are questions. And the big question we ask is, how does the school ensure each student is engaged in all classrooms via quality instruction aligned to grade level or above standards? So the things we're going to be asking are the assignments appropriate for grade level? Is the instruction appropriate for the grade level? Are the assignments and instruction aligned to the standards that are being taught? Are students learning to read grade level text and respond to those texts using writing? Are students learning to think about math both process but also conceptually? So that's going to apply to math classes, and literacy apply to really all the classes. When we think about curriculum, we're thinking about how do teachers know what to teach? Is what they're teaching appropriate? Do they have any say in the curriculum provided by the district and revising that curriculum? How do they assess it? How does the school make sure that there's equal access, that everybody has an opportunity at least to take challenging courses and to be provided with challenging assignments that align to standards? And do all students have access to grade level standards? Pathways is for high school. For middle school, we think of career exploration. And how does a school ensure students complete high-quality pathways aligned to both their interests and the workplace needs? What courses are provided to students that are career-focused? Are those courses actually career-focused? And are they providing students with the skills they need to receive a credential in that career? Is there a logical progression of those courses? And are those courses aligned to the needs of a district? Of the work community? Systems of support is about two main pieces. Time. How does the school use time in order to provide students more opportunities for reteaching and for learning? How do they build extended support time during the school day? Also, how do they help counsel students into the right courses? And how does the school counsel students into the courses that are going to help them with their life goals? It also might mean counseling for social and emotional needs and helping students who might learn how to deal with the problems that come up with being a teenager. And then this idea of systems for continuous improvement. Is there a culture of improvement? Not isolated, where a teacher goes to a PD here, a PD there, but is there a system and process where teachers get together, look at student work, look at assessments, make decisions based on those assessments, where the school has common expectations for what teachers should be working on and should be doing and how they should be doing it, and that they give teachers the support they need to improve and the feedback they need to improve? And what structures are there to make that happen? So there'll be a report, and the report will be organized by those 5 sections. In each section, there'll be a promising practices section, a potential problems of practice section, and a recommended actions to investigate section. So for instruction, you'll see those 3 sections. For curriculum, you'll see those 3. Career pathways, those 3. So that's how the report will be organized, by answering those questions for each focus area. So how will we determine these things? How will we determine what evidence to collect? I mean, how will we determine what the areas of strength and growth are? We're going to collect a variety of evidence. We're going to look at interviews, we're going to look at observations, lesson plans, assessments and syllabi, artifacts of common planning, surveys we give to the students and the teachers and parents if possible. We're going to look at data and a CTE self-assessment. So we're going to ask the site coordinator to provide us with some data, and that data is going to help paint a picture of achievement, but also of what courses students are taking and what pathways are in place, as well as other both achievement but also enrollment questions and questions around career pathways. We're going to do a classroom observation. That observation will be about 10 to 15 minutes, and there'll be a common form that we have. Part of the observation will be looking at lesson plans. You will have access to the form, and when we do the observation, we enter it into a Google Drive form that gives us immediate access to the results, and we'll share those results with you the following day. We'll do interviews. You'll be provided the questions in advance, and we're going to schedule interviews with these different groups of people. We'd like to schedule the leader interviews ahead of time so we can focus the day on student interviews. So school leaders, district leaders, counselors, if we can schedule those before the day, that would be great. If not, we can do them on the visit. We're going to ask you to collect assessments that are aligned to standards. These would be end-of-unit assessments or culminating assessments. It can be a test, it can be an essay, it can be a project, but something that shows how you are determining if students are meeting standards for specific classes. We're going to ask you to provide a syllabi for specific classes, and I'll share with you, you'll receive a form, and that form will tell you exactly which classes we're looking for. And no one should create a syllabi for this. If they don't have a syllabi, then that's information to collect. And then what kind of artifacts are there of collaboration? This would be any agendas or meetings or notes from professional development or PLC type collaborative meetings that teachers have. We are going to do surveys. So you should have or will be contacted by a young lady named Rebecca, and she will, Rebecca Purser, I forgot her last name for a second, and she will work with you on setting up these surveys. The surveys are going to be organized by those 5 focus areas: instruction, curriculum, career pathways, systems of support, and continuous improvement. So that will be data that we can take. The important thing with the teachers is that we have all the teachers if possible, and we would like all of the 9th grade students. I'm sorry, for high school we want 12th grade, and for middle school we want 8th grade. And we should have a random sampling from different levels, equal distribution. And again, you'll receive specific instructions from Rebecca Purser around that. So we're going to share with the school a checklist. And in that checklist, we'll have the different steps to take in preparation for the visit. The most important one is to create a team. This is not an SREB review of your school. This will be a district self-review of the school, with SREB helping the district do that self-analysis. But SREB will write the final report based on the team's feedback. So we want people from across the district, hopefully, who have experience in these areas. Ideally, it is not somebody, as few people as possible from the district. We'd like the team to be other principals or assistant principals or counselors from other schools, either in the district or in neighboring districts. It's a learning opportunity for them as they go into the school and think about how another school is implementing many of the things that they are trying to implement themselves. So, and if it's a lot of district people, it becomes a district invasion and evaluation, and adds a lot of stress to the teachers that can be avoided if it's principals and other folks from other districts that they don't feel are there to judge them and have impact on their careers. We're gonna, like I said, the school is gonna have a checklist for a site coordinator or point person. If the principal wants to do this, that's fine. There are quite a bit of little logistical things to have ready. So I just want to make sure, I'm going to pull up a document that we're going to share with you, which has sort of all the different data pieces that we'd like. And this column right here has sort of the logistical steps: getting a master calendar, building map, an agenda. You'll have a sample agenda that you can use. Just making sure we know the times for lunch, the times that you want us to start, the times we need to be done, doing the surveys. So these are all some of the pieces that need to be addressed by the site coordinator ahead of time. So that's why I have here, making sure that we have that, conduct the SREB surveys, ensuring that the teachers are ready for the observations. We need a folder with that day's lesson plan. Would be that week's would be better. We prefer to have the week lesson plan. And facilitate the development of a school presentation. So let me just talk about the school presentation. The first day of the CIR usually starts around 2 o'clock, and the school presents to us, the team, the whole CIR team, what they're doing to address those 5 areas, how they self-assess their progress around improving instruction, aligning curriculum, creating career pathways. So essentially, they should be able to answer these questions, right? So if we were to ask the school leadership, how would you answer that question? That's what the school overview is. It's answering these 5 questions. The SREB person can share with the school a sample overview for them to look at. We will then work with the team to prepare them for the day. after we will show them all of the tools and forms and collection documents and use those and use that time to present to them how we're going to collect evidence from the school. Day 2, we do observations, we do interviews, and we look at the assessments and assignments and all that other stuff. And at the end of the day, we work with that CIR team to debrief and to identify the promising practices, areas of growth, and possible recommendations. So by the time we finish that day, sometimes it goes late, we will have a PowerPoint so that with those recommendations and with those problems of practice and so on, so that on the third day in the morning, the school principal and whoever he or she invites will receive the initial findings. And that'll be a PowerPoint presentation that summarizes the evidence we collected and our conclusions based on that evidence. After that, SREB will take that initial synthesis and create a final report that goes into more detail about what was found and what our recommendations are. So I hope this overview has been helpful, whether you're a school who is unable to attend the overview and are watching this video, or you might be a SREB employee preparing to work with a school.